The Big Ten Coach of the Year is a shared award for the first time in nearly a decade. Matt Painter wins the honor for the fifth time in his Purdue career, tying Bob Knight for the second most all-time after leading the Boilers to a second straight outright regular season title. Painter sharing the award with Nebraska's Fred Hoiberg, who takes home his first Big Ten Coach of the Year honor. Nebraska's third-place regular season finish is the Huskers' best since joining the Big Ten and the best in any conference in more than 3 decades. Time for us to take you to Lincoln, where we meet with the Big Ten Co-Coach of the Year, Fred Hoiberg. Fred, first and foremost, congratulations. I want to know how it sounds to your ears to hear Fred Hoiberg, 2024 Big Ten Coach of the Year.
Well, I appreciate that, Rick. Anytime you get one of these awards, it's really a testament to the entire program. And, I'm very blessed to have a great staff that comes in here, everybody on the same page, the work ethic that these guys display on a daily basis. The assistant coaches obviously are the ones on the bench, but there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on with your video coordinator, with, your player development, with the guys that are down there on the floor, working with your players, getting a lot of extra time in. So I'm really happy for everybody in the program, just where things are with Nebraska basketball right now. I think we're playing as well as anybody, certainly playing our best basketball of the year. And, big week ahead. Just love this time of year with the starting with the Big Ten tournament this week, and then hopefully hearing our name called on Selection Sunday.
Fred, from the outside, whether that be fans or media, coaches are so often judged almost entirely on wins and losses. From a coach's perspective, when do you know that you and your staff are doing a good job?
Well, I think it's all about are you making the necessary steps? Are you staying on the task at hand? Are you staying with the mission through the tough times and through adversity? And when I look at this group that was put together, really from day one, when our guys met on campus, we were very fortunate to have a foreign trip this year. We went to Spain, and when we started that preparation, I could tell that this was a group that had a chance to do something special just based on their work ethic, based on their approach. And, it starts every day in the weight room in the off season. That's the most important part. And, all the other things that our guys have bought into with nutrition, with sleeping habits, with taking care of their bodies. And we've got a very mature team. We have the oldest team in the Big Ten. And when the coaches are putting the plan together, as far as how to try to take advantage of certain skill sets, with our roster, and we have some pretty unique players. And then also, what can you do defensively? And that's where I've been really proud of this group, is how we have taken, enormous steps on that side of the ball. Defensively in January, we struggled, but we were as good as anybody. I think second in the nation in defensive efficiency in the month of February. And, I give our staff a lot of credit for that. Nate Lenzer is a guy that I really, kind of put the defense on him. And we tried to come up with a system that fit our personnel on that side of the floor. And, we've been really good on that end. Michigan, first half, we weren't great, but second half, we held them to 24%. And that's what allowed us to pull away, in a very important game for us in the last game of the season. So, when we put this group together, I could tell it was a very mature group that came in with the right approach every day. And I think that's why we're sitting where we are right now.
Fred, more proof that the media has no idea what it's talking about. You were 12th in the unofficial preseason poll. You mentioned the European trip and the experience, but was there a point during the season where you realized that this team had the ability to be something special at the end of the year?
Well, I'm really happy with how we rebuilt this roster, and we lost some great pieces that I thought did a great job in really helping build the right culture in this program, with Sam Griesel, with Emmanuel Bandamel, with Derek Walker. And, we had some, not only on the court things that we had to replace, but really leadership is where we needed the biggest, to fill the shoes of those guys that did such a great job for our team every day. And that's where getting guys like Josiah Allick and Rink Mast and Bryce Williams and Jerron Coleman in the transfer portal really helped in that area. And, those guys have been absolutely phenomenal. The other thing, when you have a group that you can coach, and when you can sit in a film room and nothing is taken personal, and they can take constructive criticism, then you have a chance. And that's exactly what these guys have done. And a lot of that is due to the senior leadership and the veteran leadership that we have in this program. And, that's what you have to have in this league. And, I think this really is a group that our fan base can be proud of, just with how hard they play. We're on the floor a lot. We talk a lot about that, being first to floor, 50-50 balls, going out and battling and defending every night. So, those are the things that I've been really impressed with this team. But, I'm so thankful last year's group, and we had a couple injuries. When you lose Bandamel and Juwan Gary in January and have to replace, two of the guys that really created a defensive identity for this program last year. And, we replaced them with players that have that similar mindset and that same hardworking mentality. And, when you have a hardworking team that competes every possession, again, you're going to have a chance most nights you step on the floor.
Fred, how much fun, and I know coaches will a lot of times say the grind during the regular season is rarely fun, even when you win. But when you have a team that plays with the infectious joy of a Keisei Tominaga, the role definition that you talked about with especially guys like Josiah Alec, and what seemed to just be an overall team connectedness, how enjoyable is that to see from a coaching staff perspective?
Well, this to me is going to go down as one of my all-time favorite teams that I've ever coached, whatever the result is the rest of the way. It just really has been a team. You don't have to worry about anything. There's no ego. There's no agendas with the players. And, it's really, again, I give the guys all the credit in the world for their overall daily approach, to everything that we're trying to teach. And when, when you have a group that comes in here and it's all about the team, it really does make our job so much more enjoyable. We've had very few instances, I think one time all year where one of our freshmen slept through an alarm. That's really the only time I can remember that we had anybody late for a practice. And hell, that happened to me, Rick, when I was a freshman at Iowa State. I slept through my alarm on our first morning practice. So, you don't have to worry about any distractions. These guys have taken care of themselves, taken care of their bodies, and that certainly makes our job a lot more fun.
Fred, you mentioned that road win at Michigan to end the year, picked up a couple of road wins late. The bad news is, as good as the year was, you don't get to take Pinnacle Bank Arena with you to Minneapolis. It was such a great home court advantage for you guys, but how important was it for you to have a little bit of success on the road as you get ready for the postseason?
Well, it was so important. We had a great win early over Kansas State in a very tough environment. I know that from my playing days in the old Big 8 and coaching in the Big 12 for 5 years. That's one of the great venues in college basketball. So that was a huge win for us early in the non-conference schedule. And then to get a big win, obviously we'd had our struggles, and get the big win against Indiana. We had a 20-point lead in halftime in that game. They made a huge run on us, cut it to 3 with about 10 minutes left. And one guy I give a lot of credit to is Jerron Coleman, who came in here. It's his last year of college basketball, not on the floor as much as he would like, but he showed unbelievable leadership and pulled the group aside at the under 12 media timeout, and really kind of calmed everybody down. And then we pulled away and ended up getting a good double-digit win. And then to get that last one of the year, it was important for us to get that locked up the double bye for us going into the Big Ten tournament. And it's huge. I mean, anytime you can get a road win like that, it just really helps with the resume come Selection Sunday.
All right, Fred, well, let's finish with that as you guys get set to head to Minneapolis. It's a place that's very special to you. A lot of connections there. What's this week going to be like for you, with the focus obviously on winning 3 games in Minneapolis, but also taking your team back to a place that's such a big part of your life?
Yeah, it really is really is a special place for me, Rick. I spent 7 years of my life there. My final 2 years of my playing career were in Minnesota. We made a great run in the Western Conference Finals that year. Sam Cassell wouldn't have tore a muscle in his hip in the semifinals against Sacramento. I think we would have won a world championship that year. So just have really special memories. I had my open heart surgery there that really essentially saved my life at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And then had 5 great years working with Kevin McHale and, really learning a lot about the game, when I hung up my playing shoes. So it really is a special place. Great sports town, and really looking forward to getting back there. We still have a lake home up in the northern Minnesota area, and just really is a special place. But it's all about going out there and trying to finish off this portion of the season well before you go into March Madness. So just really looking forward to it. I think our team is in good shape. Knock on wood, we've got good health right now with our guys, and hopefully play well this week.
I know you and I have some mutual friends up in the Twin Cities. I know they're excited to see you this week, as we are as well. Fred Hoiberg, 2024 Big Ten Co-Coach of the Year. Again, Fred, congrats. Look forward to seeing you this weekend in Mini.
All right, Rick, thank you. I appreciate it.
Rick Pizzo back now with Trent Meacham. So the first time since 2015 we have Co-Coach of the Year winners and two guys who coached very different teams. Matt Painter knew the expectations and met them. There's no question that Fred Hoiberg and the Huskers exceeded everyone's preseason thoughts.
I think both very well deserved. Starting with Coach Hoiberg, the first 3 years were really a struggle for the Cornhuskers, getting them going. 9-11 in conference last year, now 12-8. I just have loved how he does it from the sidelines. So composed. The team plays with that composure. It's a beautiful style basketball, but they combine that with the grittiness. That's how he was the mayor as a player. And he understands the flow of the game, Rick. I look back to that come-from-behind victory over Wisconsin. C.J. Wilcher led them to that victory in the second half. Tominaga didn't play much. The very next game in Champaign against Illinois, Tominaga went for 30, and so he understands the rotations, what buttons to push, as well as any coach in our conference.
And I'm glad Matt Painter gets the recognition because often this award is not given to a coach whose team is expected to win. Purdue is expected to win, but Matt Painter takes home Coach of the Year for the 5th time in his career.
I tell you what, when you have those high expectations, it's hard to deliver on them. They did it last year. They've been the class of the Big Ten in recent seasons, so well-deserved for Matt Painter. I love that he recruits his guys. He trusts his eyes. He doesn't care what guys are ranked. He develops his players. He's built that. The culture of Purdue basketball right now is probably as good as it gets in the Big Ten, so very well deserved for Matt Painter. I got a feeling they're cooking up something special here in March, and they're going to be ready to go this month.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that believe that believe that this Purdue team is destined to erase all of those disappointments of Marches prior. They had two guys on the All-Big Ten first team, and Zach Edey and Braden Smith, as we now take a look at the first reveal of the All-Big Ten second team. And you see more than 5 players because, again, remember, there are 2 different lists. Coaches and media vote. Anytime there are enough votes for players from either organization, you get placed on that team. So your All-Big Ten second team includes Tyson Walker and A.J. Storr, who were chosen by both the coaches and the media. Jameer Young, who is a first-team media selection, is a second-team coaches pick. Keisei Tominaga, Tony Perkins, also picked by the coaches. Marcus Domask was a first-team coaches pick. He's second-team by the media, as are Khalil Ware and Dawson Garcia. Sometimes we look at these selections from an individual perspective. Sometimes we look from a collective and the group of guys that are chosen. When you look at the first and second team, the first team specifically, what kind of jumps out in terms of what was rewarded and honored with those picks?
Winners were rewarded. You got 2 from Purdue and you got 2 from Illinois, and then you have Boo Buie, the winningest player in Northwestern history. So I think that's how it should be. And look, all these individual guys have put up big numbers, and we've seen them all, Rick, completely take over games, control games, whether that's Zach Edey at 7'4" or Braden Smith at 6 feet tall. All these guys have done that in their own unique way. And I think it was pretty clear. I asked my twin 7-year-olds this morning, who's first team All-Big Ten? They nailed the 5 of the coaches.
That's pretty impressive.
Right away. So I think it was very clear. Even a guy like Jameer Young, Maryland didn't quite have the success, but he's a winner in how he plays. I saw him control the game in Champaign. Big win over the Illini on the road. So I think they got this right. Well-deserved from those first team. And then the second team, those guys can play too.
Now, did each of the twins get all 5, or did they put their brains together and combined get all the picks?
It was a quick huddle, but man, they were pretty quick with those 5: Damask, Shannon, Bowie, Edey, and Smith.
Yeah, future players, maybe future broadcasters in the Meacham household as well.